Hey, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Morning Scone Mother's Day edition. We're as always presented by Get Signed, digital autograph app for your smartphone. Thanks so much to those of you who downloaded the app and told me about it and really enjoyed it. Appreciate that greatly. A very happy Mother's Day. Let me begin there. To all the moms. If you are a mom watching, I appreciate it. If you're not a mom, then take care of your mom or your wife or your sister, your aunts, whoever it may be, the women that are and the moms that are special in your life today. We're probably going to have a few cameos from Drew this morning. So my wife is sleeping in, recording this, left the door open so you didn't hear him crying outside. So we're going to have Drew cameos, I'm sure, during this. Let's talk about LSU baseball losing game 2 to Alabama out of the box last night. It's a crushing loss, man. It's a crushing loss to a really bad team. And make no mistake, Alabama's a bad team. Didn't look like it last night, but Alabama is a bad team. And for LSU, it puts you in a situation where if 15 conference wins and probably winning Hoover gets you into regional play. But if you want to leave, no doubt, you get to 16 because no SEC team that's gotten to 16 conference wins has ever been left out of regional. So that's your target, just to get in, like to guarantee yourself a spot in. And so LSU right now needs 3 more wins with 4 conference games to go. So you've got Alabama today. That's obviously going to be your best shot of getting a win. You got to face Casey Mize next Thursday at Auburn, which he might well be the first pick of the draft, so that's going to be really tough. And then you're going to have to hope that Mikhail Hilliard bounces back and that A.J. Labus on the road at Auburn next week can give you a strong outing, and that's your way to 16. You'd hope you get into regional play. Let's talk a little bit about Mikhail Hilliard. Really bad day for him. And the thing about Hilliard is if the curveball isn't special and the fastball command isn't there, then he's just a guy. There's a lot of guys that throw 87, and he's just one of them. What makes him special is when he can locate his fastball and then follow it up with that devastating curveball. And yesterday evening felt a lot like the South Carolina game, where the Gamecock hitters and then last night Alabama were very patient. They sat back on the breaking ball and they drove it because Hilliard hung it. And he hung it because he was behind in counts and he couldn't bury it. And so it's sort of it's a domino effect for Mikhail when he's not locating the fastball, and then he's got to throw the curveball over the plate. And so what happened was you had an awful line for Mikhail where he ends up throwing walking 5 guys in the ball game and giving up 5 runs. So we've seen it a couple of times from Hilliard, and it happens. I mean, it happens to the best pitchers in the world. So it's unfortunate. He just when a guy like Hess or a year ago Alex Lang, when they didn't have their best stuff, they could always just reach back, grab 95, throw it, and hope they could throw it by somebody. Hilliard doesn't have that luxury, so when he's off, it's probably going to look really bad, and it did last night. But the good thing was Ventmeyer came in, stemmed the tide, but golly, man, Cam Sanders was at the end of the game, but Cam Sanders, I think, was the sort of positive story for LSU. He came in down 5-1 and gave you 3 2/3 innings pitched of 1-run, 2-hit baseball. He struck out 7. He struck out 7 hitters in 3 2/3. We've talked about it, and he gave LSU a shot in the game last night. And when it was 5-1 in the 3rd inning, he came in and threw up zeros to give the offense a shot to get going and get back in the game. It just never happened, which we'll talk about in a second. But there was even a spot in the 6th where 5th or 6th, they had 2nd and 3rd with less than 2 outs, and he came and got back-to-back strikeouts to get out of it. I mean, at that point, they're about to blow the game wide open, and he slammed the door. And the other thing about Cam Sanders all year, we talked about from the beginning of the season, and it started when Paul Maneri drew comparisons to Aaron Nola, and not as far as the quality pitcher, but just arm slot, build. He said he had good stuff, and he does. He's got a plus fastball. He's got good off-speed stuff. His problem's been command. That's been the knock on him. He walked 4 guys last night in 3 2/3. So you're averaging more than a walk per inning pitched, and that's terrible. I mean, just frankly, that's terrible. So I mean, you'd like maybe if you could get to 1 walk per 9 on average. I mean, then you're Aaron Nola. But nonetheless, he gave LSU a shot, and if you're just looking forward, obviously Maneri had gone to Todd Peterson. Let me explain that in a second. Maneri had gone to Todd Peterson for long relief, but now Peterson looks like he's your closer. So your options for long relief are Cam Sanders or Caleb Gilbert. And it's pretty clear that Maneri at this point is worried about Gilbert and what he can get out of him and which Gilbert's going to show up on a given day. So I think in Maneri's streaky, he'll play the guy that's a hot hand sort of thing. And I think Sanders yesterday earned the right to be the next guy if LSU needs long relief, and he probably will be. We'll talk about Game 3 here just a quick second. I do want to talk. The Todd Peterson thing, real quick. I got a comment on yesterday's show from a guy named Jake Zonbrecker. Shout out, Jake. Jake said he and his dad watch Morning Scone on their TV every day, so appreciate that very much. If you got Roku or whatever you have with the YouTube app, just pull this up on your TV. You can watch it while you're drinking your coffee or eating your breakfast in the morning or whatever, or desktop at work, whatever you want to do. But thank you, Jake. And Jake said, "What's the deal with the way you say Todd Peterson?" There's a movie, Adam Sandler, Andy Samberg, called That's My Boy. It's an awful plot. It's an even worse movie. But Andy Samberg's character goes by the alias. His real name is Han Solo Burger. Awful movie. And he goes by the alias Todd Peterson. And late in the movie, whenever he sort of regains his identity and accepts the fact that he's Han Solo Burger, he says, "My name's not Todd Peterson." Anyway, so on AFR, my daily radio show, for those that don't know, every time, this has been a 2-year bit now, every time anybody says the name Todd Peterson, even in interviews, like if guests come on and say it, we hit the Todd Peterson drop, where it's Samberg going, Todd Peterson. So it's ruined it for a lot of people. People can't hear the name without hearing the drop anymore, which I think is hilarious. But anyway, that's the Todd Peterson thing for those that weren't aware. And thank you, Jake, for watching, because I'm assuming you're watching here today as well. Jake Walters yesterday for Bama. 8 innings pitched, 1 run on 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, 102 pitches. This is devastating for me. Because and Jake Walters has been around for a while at Alabama, but he's not Greg Maddux. There's the old, a Maddux is a complete game shutout with under 100 pitches. Jake Walters looked like he was on his way to doing that yesterday. You know what? There are days, especially in the SEC, where you're going to run up against a pitcher that goes 8 innings, gives up 1 run on 4 hits and throws 102 pitches. But typically that happens against guys like Alex Faedo and Brady Singer or Casey Mize, guys that are going to be like Aaron Nola, top 5 picks in the draft, like super special stuff. Not Jake Walters. Not a career SEC guy with an average arm. It's so disappointing because they didn't even make that kid sweat. And if there's one thing offensively this year that I've harped on more than any other, it's been the seeming lack of a unified approach at the plate from LSU hitters. It's, hey, let's go up there, hack away, and see what happens. That's not to say that they don't implement strategy like bunting and hitting and running when they need to, and small ball and stolen, but whatever. But it's just the general thought of going up there free swinging. If a guy's in a groove, it's just my belief that you have to find a way to make him uncomfortable. And the amazing thing is, if you look at LSU's rally on Friday night, they did it by taking walks and getting hit by pitch. Like, they saw a guy struggling, and they sat back and patiently waited. I talked about yesterday Jake Slaughter, one of the best ABs I can remember. Brant Broussard worked a 7-pitch walk, which led to an RBI. I mean, last night was just devastating to watch Jake Walters in a massive game look like Greg Maddux. He was after he got a routine out to end the 7th, and he's walking off the mound like he was about to fall asleep. Wasn't even sweating. They didn't make him work hard all night. And when LSU had runners on, they hit ground balls and I think hit into 4 double plays. And it was one of those nights. But when you're hitting it at people, then you've got to find a way to make that guy uncomfortable. You know, you get a guy on, you put action on the bases, you foul pitches off, you drive up the pitch count. Like, you make a concerned effort at some point, say, hey, look, we got to get this guy's pitch count up. You get him out of the game. They just didn't do it. I mean, the fact that he went 102 pitches through 8 innings is, and it was again, it wasn't Brady Singer, it wasn't Blaine Knight, it wasn't Sean Jelly, it was Jake Walters. I mean, no total disrespect to that kid, but LSU just, they don't have a unified approach at the plate, and that's the most disappointing thing. And sometimes you hit the ball and it finds grass and it lands or goes over the fence with that approach, and some days you have days like yesterday. So today's just massive. I mean, A.J. Labus has got to be nails. He's got to go throw strikes, and he's got to get LSU deep into the ball game, and the offense has got to show up. It's freshman on freshman pitcher today, and LSU just has to win this game. It's their best opportunity odds-wise of winning a game remaining in the regular season of these 4 SEC games left. You can't afford a home series loss to the worst team in the SEC. You can't. The one, aside from, if you want Cam Sanders as a positive yesterday, the other was Cabrera. Daniel Cabrera, 2 of 3 with a walk. He's LSU's best hitter. He's the most talented hitter. We've talked about him a ton, and now you're seeing why. He just needed the reps and the cuts and the hacks to get in there and do it. So good on Daniel Cabrera. He's up to 325 his batting average. I mean, he's up 50 points in the last 2 weeks. He's got it going right now. He's figured out how to hit SEC pitching, and that's great to see. So again, that'll do it for us. We'll talk tomorrow about Game 3, and we'll recap the Joe Burrow visit from LSU when we have football, when we have those notes. In the meantime, happy Mother's Day. Y'all download the Get Signed app, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.